Good morning, children. Today, class for 10th class. Subject is physical science. I hope all of you are fine. In previous classes, we discussed about the acid-base neutralization reaction and reaction of acids with the metal oxides and reaction of bases with the non-metal oxide and electric conductivity of acids. And in that activity, we observed that when we pass the electricity through the acid solution, they are dissociates into ions. Means nothing but in that activity, we took hydrochloric acid solution. So that hydrochloric acid solution dissociates into H plus and Cl minus ion. Means this hydrogen ions only responsible for the electric conduction of the acids. So normally in aqueous form, nothing but in that liquid form, only the acids produces that hydrogen ions are nothing but H plus ions. So for example, hydrochloric acid is exist in two form. One is aqueous form, another one is gaseous form. When we test this hydrochloric acid in aqueous form, nothing but liquid form, the blue litmus paper is changed into the red. Why? Because nothing but the acidic property of the hydrochloric acid shown in aqueous form only. Same, we took the hydrogen chloride gas, nothing but hydrochloric acid gas, nothing but it is gaseous form. So this hydrogen chloride gas does not shows any acidic property in the gaseous state. For this one, we can perform that simple activity. So, took some amount of sodium chloride in aqueous form. Sodium chloride means you know that one, that is common salt. And sulfuric acid, H2SO4. So, this sodium chloride and sulfuric acid reacts with each other and forms the hydrogen chloride gas. When we test this hydrogen chloride gas with the blue litmus paper, the color of the blue litmus paper is unchanged. Nothing but the color of the blue litmus is not changed into red litmus. Why? Because nothing but it is present in the gaseous form. Suppose you add some water drops to the litmus paper, then the color of the blue litmus paper is changes to red. It confirms that acids produces ions in aqueous form only. In gaseous form, acids not shown there any property. Normally, when the acids are dissolved in the water, they combine with the water molecule and form the hydronium ion. You know that when acid produces H plus ions, hydrogen ions, this H plus ions combines with the H2O, nothing but water molecule, and finally forms H3O plus ions. What? H3O plus ions. H3O plus ions are nothing but hydronium ion. So this hydronium ions only responsible for the acidic property of the acids. Okay. Next, normally the bases also dissolves in the water. Means nothing but karagadam. So, for example, NaOH means nothing but sodium hydroxide is one of the base. NaOH is one of the base, sodium hydroxide. When we dissolve this NaOH, it dissociates into Na plus OH minus ions. What? Na plus and OH minus ions. Similarly, the base KOH is there. It is also dissolves into water and dissociates into K plus and OH minus ions. So, the bases that are dissolves in the water are called as alkalis. What? Alkalis. The bases that are dissolves in the water are called as alkalis. For example, NaOH, sodium hydroxide, KOH, potassium hydroxide, CaOH taken twice, calcium hydroxide, and MgOH taken twice, magnesium hydroxide. So all these bases are dissolved in the water and dissociates into ions. So that's why these bases are called as alkalis. Next, dilution of acids. Normally, the acids are very strong. We perform so many experiments and activity in the laboratory by using acids. But these acids are very dangerous. Unfortunately, even some drops are falls upon our skin. It leads to the severe burn. So, the dilution of acids with the water compulsory. So, how should we dilute the acids? Always we should acid drop by drop into the water. Always we add acid solution drop by drop to the water solution. Not directly add water into the acid solution. Why? Because when we add water to the acid solution, at that time excessive heat would be generating. Nothing but the dilution of acid and water is exothermic reaction. So during the dilution, when we add water to the acid solution, at the time local excessive heat is generating. When we touch the beaker or test tube, we feel very hot. Sometimes the beakers and test tube also break and the acid will be splashed out. Means nothing but mana paina padutundi. So that's why always we should add acid drop by drop to the water, not water to the acid. So you should remind you in your mind. Okay? Why? Because nothing but the dilution of acid with the water is exothermic reaction. Suppose we should not follow precaution, it leads to the local excessive heating, and sometimes the beakers and test tube that contains acid solution also breaks and the acid material should be splashed out. We will face very dangerous situation. Okay. Next, Normally, the concentration of acids, bases, and salts are measured in on pH scale. What is the meaning of pH? Actually, the word pH is derived from German word potence, which means power of hydrogen. Actually, the word pH is German word which means potence, nothing but the power of hydrogen. Always remember that the pH value of acids are always less than 7. The pH value of acids are always less than 7. And the pH value of salts near to the 7, and the pH value of bases are always above 7. And always remember that the acidity of acid is increases as the pH value is decreases. Suppose you are given two type of acids. One of the acid pH value is 5. Another acid pH value is 2.1. Now, which one is a stronger acid? The acid which have lower pH value, nothing but the acid which have pH value 2.1 is stronger acid, and the acid which have pH value 5 is a weaker acid. And always remember that the basicity of the bases or alkaline nature of the bases are increases with increasing pH value. For example, one of the base pH value is 8.2. Another base pH value is 12. Which one is a stronger base? The base which have pH value 12 is a stronger base. So now we have idea about that how the pH value determines the strength of the acids and bases. Next, what is the importance of pH value in our daily life? The plants and animals are sensitive to the pH value. Normally, we heard the word acid rains. What is the meaning of acid rain? When the pH value of rainwater is lower than the pH value 5.6. When the pH value of rainwater is lower than the 5.6, remember that what are the pH value of rainwater is whenever lower than the 5.6, it leads to the acid rains. When acid rains occurs at the time, that type of rainwater would destroy the plant's life. Not only plant's life, it will destroy the marine life also. Next, sometimes we feel or we suffered from tooth decay and panti noppi. Okay. పళ్ళకు పురుగులు పట్టడం. ఓకే, why would face this type of situation? In our mouth also normal pH value is maintained. Whenever the pH value of mouth is decreased below the 5.5, remember that what? Whenever the pH value of our mouth is lower than the 5.5, at the time of feel gum pains or tooth pain, and in our mouth tooth decay started. అంటే పళ్ళు పుచ్చిపోవడం స్టార్ట్ అవుతాయి. సో అట్ ద టైమ్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద రెమెడీ ఫర్ దట్ వన్? హౌ షుడ్ వి ప్రివెంట్ ద టూత్ డీకే? వీ హ్యావ్ టు యూజ్ ద పేస్ట్, నథింగ్ బట్ టూత్ పేస్ట్ దట్ ఈస్ బేసిక్ ఇన్ నేచర్. What is the remedy for that tooth decay? How should we prevent tooth decay? We should use the toothpaste that is basic in nature. Next, sometimes we feel indigestion, or sometimes we should face indigestion problem, acidity, normally called as acidity. You know that in stomach hydrochloric acid is continuously producing. Sometimes when we take excessive amount of meals, at the time our stomach produces too much of acid. It causes irritation in our stomach and leads to the stomach pain. So at the time, how we get relief from that acidity? So we should take milk of magnesia. What? Milk of magnesia, that is base MgOH taken twice. Or we should take the antacid tablets. What? Antacid tablets that contains baking soda. And normally sometimes farmers frequently sprinkle lime powder, అంటే సున్నం చల్లుతారు పొలాలు. Why? Because nothing but when the acidity of the soil increases, at the time it is not good for the plant growth. At the time to decrease the acidity of the soil, the farmers sprinkle the lime powder in their field. Sometimes unfortunately honeybees, miss తేనెటీగలు, wasp కందిరీగలు, stingers miss కుడతాలు. So at the time feel pain. What is the reason behind this pain? When honeybees or wasp sting, they will inject methanoic acid. Which acid? Methanoic acid or formic acid into our body. So that's why we should feel pain. Then how should we get relief? We should apply any base material such as baking soda on the area where the honeybees stay. So in this way the pH value plays very important role in our daily life, and the pH value also nowadays play important role in the performing of soil test. Okay, first of all the farmers perform soil test for their soil. When they know the chemical nature of the soil, they should decide which type of crop should they cultivate in their land. So this is the importance of pH in our daily life. All the students must complete their worksheet regularly without fail. Thank you children.
Very much.